With the Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to... Has anyone seen the bride and groom?
Sorry, we're here. We were getting lucky in the limo and we lost track of time.
No, Lucky Land Casino, with cash prizes that add up quicker than a guest registry.
In that case, I pronounce you lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply.
Have to go to the deity and thank him for not doing one of these shows? It's that bad? Come on, man.
No, but you know what I mean.
Well, we do have a convoluted schedule from here on in because we'll precede every Chiefs game, and that will be Saturdays from – no, it won't. It's Saturday, a Saturday, and then a Thursday, I guess.
That's right, yeah.
I'm wrong on that, too, because it's next Saturday. There are 3 games tonight, the next one, and then the Thursday night game.
Yeah, that's right. We have this Saturday, next Saturday, and a Thursday game, and then I think there's a week off between the seasons starting. You know, we've got this handy schedule that you can pick up. You can find out where you can pick these up at our website at 1047thecave.com. It's the 2024 Kansas City Chiefs regular season schedule. It's brought to you by Marshfield Chevrolet and Smouse Brothers. And it's a magnet. It's really neat because you can just throw that up on the fridge or on your hard hat or wherever, and you can just keep track of when the Chiefs are playing.
Hopefully you won't be throwing up, but that's all right.
Well, you know what I mean. You just flip it up there.
I do.
Okay, I wanted to start out, before we get into talking about the Chiefs, let's talk about Art Haynes for a moment because he announced his retirement this week.
He did, but it's a retirement that takes place after this season.
Yes.
It's for 2025, yeah. And Art is going to do one game next year, and that's the game when Missouri State plays his alma mater in football, and that is a very big game. Southern Methodist comes here to play, and that's a biggie.
Nice.
And Art wants to do that, and rightfully so, he should. But, yeah, from a regular basis, he'll be hanging it up. But, Art's, like all of us, getting a little longer tooth, but over and above that, he does have the physical limitations, and he's begun to realize that's affecting him.
How long has Art been the voice of
44 years
of Missouri State?
44
years.
Wow.
Since I was 13 years old.
And he's done such a great job at it,
yes,
too. Mm-hmm.
He is. Art Haynes is, the biggest compliment you can pay to somebody in broadcasting is to say that they're a pro. And Art Haynes is the pro's pro. He is a guy that always shows up and does what he needs to do, and he goes above and beyond, and he's always prepared, and he will be missed on the air.
Well, I had the great pleasure of working with him for 20 years on the Bears Radio Network, and it was a pleasure because I watched exactly how he does things, and the man is so capable and so bright that I still can't figure out how in the world he keeps the stats and does the play-by-play at the same time. I'm looking at my stats and going, well, let's see, 1, 2, 2, oh, minus 2. Meanwhile, the game's going on, and he can do it all. His mind is that calculating.
Yep, the pro's pro.
Mm-hmm.
So here we are. We're on our first preseason game tonight. The Chiefs take on the Jacksonville Jaguars. We've seen some preseason games already. Josh, when you walked in the studio, you said Mr. Reed had made a comment about maybe everybody playing the first quarter. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I saw a video clip of him where he said the starters plan on playing most or all of the first quarter, which I don't know if that's necessary. Ned and I were talking about it, and I think it's going to depend upon how they look in the first couple of series. But I'd honestly be surprised if they play the whole first quarter. But who knows? With only 3 preseason games, maybe they need to evaluate some stuff.
Well, they do in a lot of categories, and I think Jake will agree with that, too. There are some decisions that do need to be made, and then there's an interesting circumstance about players who are now free agents, and we'll talk about that a little bit later on. Well, we'll talk about it now.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
There is a cut. Now, keep in mind that the games haven't even begun. Oh, they will tonight. But the New England Patriots cut before the first game Juju Smith-Schuster.
I saw that.
Now, do the Chiefs think about getting him?
No.
I would think not, but that's a lot of the speculation on the wonderful 100% accurate podcasts and things like that and X that they should consider it. I don't. What do you think, Jake?
Man, I mean, it depends on how cheap you get them. Now, we are pretty deep at wide receiver. Depends on what's going on with Rashee Rice, too, with his legal allegations. But, I mean, why not bring him to this practice squad and see what he does?
He gets hurt. That's what he does.
Well, they may do that. They may bring him to practice squad. But why did the Patriots let him go? That's
That's
key.
a good question. I mean, why do the Patriots do a lot of things? But Andy Reid is notorious for bringing back these old players that used to play for him for cheap. And look what he did with Shady when he had LaShawn McCoy. And he didn't play much, but he kept bringing him back, got him a ring and all that stuff.
I think the real question is, if the Patriots didn't even want him, why would the Chiefs want him?
Well, for a veteran backup who knows the game plan, and that would help Mahomes. He would have some realization as to what's going on. So yeah, I can see some benefit there. But what bothers me is another year older, did not have a very good year last year at all. Of course, the Patriots didn't either. But the fact is that he was not good. And only caught, I think, 200 yards or something like that. And would he really help that much? Chiefs have a very good receiving core. There's also another deal that has been rumored, but I'd be surprised if this one takes place either, and that is CeeDee Lamb of the Dallas Cowboys, who can't come to a contract agreement with Jerry Jones. They may trade him. And the Kansas City Chiefs would have just exactly what they're looking for, a receiver like Rashee Rice, even though he has the problems in front of him, and maybe another player or maybe some draft choices.
Now, where have you heard that at? Is that just on Scuttlebutt, or has it come from anybody really reliable?
Dallas Morning News.
Really?
Thank you, sports fans.
And he'd be playing with Marquise Brown, which is his teammate from OU.
Exactly.
Wow. That would be huge. Do you think everybody would just set out the season and hand the trophy to the Chiefs at that point?
Well, I don't think it goes quite that easily. But
17 weeks of forfeit?
Yeah, exactly. We just skip right to the Super Bowl. It is Ned Talk, your local live sports talk show. We're doing our show before the first Chiefs preseason game coming up tonight right here on 104.7 The Cave. The Jacksonville Jaguars and the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm Joe Westen. Ned Reynolds. Forgot to introduce everybody. Jake Gillette is with us today, back from a long trip. Happy to see you, Jake. And
yes, sir.
Josh Roberts back from L.A. You guys are world travelers. Ned and I, we stay in our neighborhood.
I went to Highlandville the other day. Come on.
Oh, you did? Wow. Congratulations.
I just want to say that a Jake Gillette sighting is like a unicorn sighting these days. It's good to see
Chiefs
you,
are
buddy.
back. Chiefs are back,
well,
man.
Yeah, you wandered back into the field because the Chiefs are getting ready to play again.
Well, it could we've talked about this a little bit last week, and neither one of you guys were with us as we were talking about this. Kadarius Toney is still with the Kansas City Chiefs. He's already questionable. Yeah, it was an injury. And scuttlebutt during the training camp was that they had been giving him reps at the running back slot. What do you guys think of that?
Well, he's a multi-talented athlete. There's no question about that. He can play.
And be injured, too.
That's just it. He would be taking considerable beatings if he were at running back. So I would be a little surprised.
What do you think,
agree.
Jake?
I totally agree. I mean, if he can't stay healthy, just playing some OTAs and some reps during spring training and all this camp before the season starts, taking one hit by like the running backs do. Yeah. I can't think of a running back, honestly, that is that thin and fragile like he is that could take the beating. Honestly, I don't. It's Andy Reid, and they're going to come up with these awesome plays that is going to trick or just put him in there for a decoy.
Yeah,
maybe
could be.
Yeah,
I just don't think it's a good idea. I mean, if like you said, if he can't stay healthy as a receiver, he's not going to stay healthy as a running back.
I'm surprised that he's still with the team.
Me too.
I mean, last year before going into the Super Bowl, Ned, I rewind the tape. You said that's the last we're going to see of Kadarius Toney. He's still with the team, and all of us, I'm not calling you out, all of us are surprised that he's still with the Chiefs.
Well, I guess they see something in him. Of course, in all honesty, he did suffer an ankle injury first day of practice, and Andy Reid went to him and gave him the old George Gipp story and all that sort of thing, and then said, hey, look, you just better show up. You better be there. You can recover from your injury, but you better be at practice. You better not slough off. And I think he has probably taken that to heart, or at least if he has a heart.
As he should. As he should.
If he has a heart. He may have a heart condition. Who knows?
That's a good one, Ned. I like that. I'm going to have to write that one down. Yeah, you guys said it. They're really deep at the wide receiver core right now. Something that's interesting as I pull up the Chiefs depth chart and look at it, something that was not part of their arsenal last year, but they have somebody in camp at that spot, is the fullback, a guy by the name of Carson Steele. Do you see the Chiefs keeping that position as part of their arsenal this year?
As a backup QB?
No, fullback.
Fullback. Well, you really need a blocking back in there. You have you have players who could, in fact, handle circumstances like that. But I don't know. I don't know what their thinking is. We may find out from these exhibition games.
Being that Mahomes is normally in a shotgun formation, usually you see that in the I formation, having that blocking fullback for the running back. Yeah, that's true, but that's kind of one of those old positions that aren't around anymore.
No, it is
the wishbone formation.
It is in college football. You see it very rare, but you see it. And the triple option, and you see the academies run that, and they can fool some teams doing that. But for the most part, no, because it is a relatively low-scoring offense, and it's definitely a not-come-from-behind offense, and that's what you're looking for.
Well, that and the Chiefs aren't a run-first team anyway, so they're a pass team.
Jake, don't you think you can say that about all of the NFL now?
It's getting to that point. They're taking a page out of the old college football notes. Let's make it more fun, more showy, for sure.
Oh,
yeah.
The owners want the points on the board.
For sure, yeah.
Well, but you have to go back to last season and look at the Chiefs, and when I think when they turned their season around was when they relied on the run, when they went to Pacheco and the hard running.
Totally agree with you.
I mean, that because they couldn't open up the field and go deep. They just didn't have the players
and
for
that's
it.
what I complained about at the beginning of the season was when you had Pacheco, who was averaging 5 yards a carry, and you're running him 3 times a game, come on, run the ball. It sets up everything else that you want to do. You want to do all these trick plays, run the ball so that they pull more people into the box, and then you can do them.
How much action do you think we'll see from Clyde Edwards-Helaire?
That's interesting. Again, he's another name that appears on this roster so far, and he's in the second team slot according to ESPN. I'm still surprised that he's with the Chiefs.
He fits a role though, guys. He can play, and he is a good blocker as well as being a capable running back. I wouldn't call him great, but he can get in there and fill certain positions. I think he stays with the team as in a sub circumstance, but he's valuable, and he also has that Super Bowl experience.
Yeah, I don't see him really going anywhere. I think he's happy where he's at. I think he knows his role, and he's okay with that.
Yeah,
and so
I think that
he seems to be a really good kid and a team player, and is okay being behind somebody like Pacheco, and let him do his thing. And I always say, in Andy Reid we trust. The guy can pick out a really good talent, even if it's something small. He's a position player. He's going to do what he needs to do to keep the team out there and give Pacheco some time to get a breather.
I'm going to tell you, while we're doing this dialogue here, USA is playing basketball. Stephen Curry, who is the world's top long-distance shooter, has had a bad Olympics. He's not having a bad game today in the clutch.
Oh, if it wasn't for him, they wouldn't have won that last game.
They would not have beaten Serbia.
Mm-mm.
It's Ned Talk, your local live sports talk show, about 48 minutes away from the start of the Chiefs pregame show. Mitch Holtis, Dana Hughes, and the whole crew. Let's talk about that receiving corps for just a minute, because I think when we sat here last year, if we could roll the tape back on that too, Ned, we were talking about who is Patrick Mahomes going to throw the ball to, because there wasn't much of a core there last year, but somehow that group patched it together, and they got some big catches from some guys. The guy from Green Bay, I can't even think of his name right now. They made a couple of huge catches.
Scantling.
Yeah, made no catches during the season, and then made a couple of huge catches in the playoffs. Rashee Rice stepped up, and then, of course, we've been sitting here all during the offseason just wondering if he was going to be even part of this team. But he's in the number one spot. You've got Marquez Brown in the other spot, and then you've got Xavier Worthy in the other spot. Who's he not going to throw to?
Well,
this
that's
year?
just it. He does have the trouble is that those guys are not as experienced as some of the others. And when you get into the big time of the NFL and run up against physical D-backs, and they will really physical, especially the Baltimore Ravens. I watched them play last night. But the fact is that how they're going to react to getting pummeled, as they will, does make a difference. Now, veterans like a C.D. Lamb or a Juju Smith-Schuster or whomever are accustomed to that. These guys coming in now, Worthy, Xavier Worthy, star of Texas, number one draft choice. And you have Rashee Rice, veteran from last year. Here's the key to him. He has his hearing on that automobile circumstance December 9th. Now, what's going to happen from that point on? No telling what might happen. It's a hearing. It's not a judicial judgment of some sort. But what does the judge do? Does he send him to some kind of confinement of some sort? That you don't know. And that makes a difference. Yeah. December the 9th, folks, is at 3/4 of the way through the season.
It's a terrible time.
Mm-hmm. Here's how deep the Chiefs' wide receiving core is this season. The guy that caught the pass that won the Super Bowl is projected as third string. Mecole Hardman is still with the team.
What a change from last year.
Can I tell you a little bit my interview with Mecole Hardman? He was in Nixa in May, and Art Haynes and I went down and interviewed him. We had probably about 100, 150 people there, and he was rather contrite. He would not really come forth. He did not wear any Chiefs garb at all. And my friend who was with me said, he's not wearing anything the Chiefs. I said, he's not allowed to. He's a free agent. He can't do that and represent a team. Oh, he was a free agent. Will you go back to the Chiefs? Well, no, I'm thinking about it and all that sort of thing. He danced around the issue. Well, he finally did sign. And he's a capable receiver. He may not be the greatest, but he does have burning speed. And that's what Kansas City's offense is based on. If you can show that lightning quickness, you have it all going for you.
Do you think all this, let me ask all three of you guys this, do you think the speed that they have on the edge now benefits Travis Kelce to be able to get open more in the middle?
Yeah. I do.
Oh, definitely.
Now, Jake goes to all the games. What do you think?
This is going to be one of those things that it's going to make – I think you're going to see more of the screen passes, little dump – things that Andy Reid used to do at Philly. I see that happening a lot more because you're going to stretch that field out. You're going to get those backs backing up so fast, and you're going to have a wide open. I do hope if we do get Rashid's been a great slot receiver. I think that he's going to be really good because of what they have on the outside with Brown and Worthy. So, of course, if you got that kind of receiving core, it's going to do a lot. And hopefully, it's all going to depend on that O-line. Do they give Mahomes enough time to let the offense set up and get open?
And that's what we'll see in these exhibition games, because I think you'll see a lot of transition on the offensive line. 98-87, the final. The offensive line just won for the USA. little attempted transition there, guys. But, yeah, the O-line is very big. Jake points that out. That's your key right there, the O-line.
What Ned was trying to say, USA wins over France. Gold medal in the Olympics for the men's basketball team. So congratulations to those guys.
If I'm not mistaken,
LeBron's anymore.
I think the women play for the gold tomorrow.
The gold. I thought they already won.
No, I think
tomorrow?
They play tomorrow.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Well, let's talk about that offensive line for just a second. I mean, there's familiar names there, and there's some new names. Joe Tooney's back. Creed Humphrey's there. Trade Smith. They kind of rebuilt the tackle spots, though. Jawan Taylor over at the right tackle spot, and I'm not even going to try the left tackle spot. Kingsley, I can't say that. I'm just not going to try. I'm not going to butcher it.
It's not all that difficult pronouncement. I'm not going to try it either. But once you get into the rhythm of how you say the name, it's
the right tackle was the one that had all the penalties last year, right?
Yep.
Taylor.
Yeah, but he's back.
Ugh.
Well, maybe they've worked with him. Maybe they got him under the...
Whatever.
Keep in mind, guys, you've got to cut the team to 53 players, and a lot of names are going to go.
He's projected still as a starter for the Chiefs this year. So, and when you look at the defensive side of the ball, there's not really hardly any changes there either. It's the same old names. That linebacking core, which I've said for the last few years, probably the most underrated, probably the best in the NFL, really... Drew Tranquill's going to step in, and we know how well he did stepping in just as a backup last year. Now he gets the full-time job, and the secondary looks pretty solid, even though they made changes there too.
Yeah.
The only big change that they made really is their punter, Matt Ariza, comes in, and he's on the team now rather than Tommy Townsend. So you're looking at they picked around the edges and fixed what needed to be fixed. And this team looks as good, if not better, than any team that they've had going into a season.
But Joe, so are the other teams.
Yeah.
They've all improved. They've all strengthened themselves. They've all utilized the draft as well as they can. And indeed, I think it'll be a good year, a very good year, and a very entertaining one.
Well, I feel like in years past, it's been kind of frustrating as a Chiefs fan to watch what they do in the draft, because it didn't seem to fit with what they needed. This draft, every player they drafted is what we have talked about multiple weeks about what they needed. They needed receivers. They needed D-backs. They needed to shore up the offensive line. So I agree with Joe. I feel like they've made all the right moves for this offseason so far to put together the team that they have decided they wanted to put together and what they needed to address to try to do something historic. And so it's exciting to see.
There's no gaping holes when you look at this team right now.
Not at
when
all.
you start the season, last couple of years, we've looked at it and we've gone, well, the secondary is a little bit suspect, or
Right.
the offensive line. This year, I feel like going into it, this is as good a Chiefs team as we've seen on paper going into the season. I know they don't play the games on paper now.
Right.
But, yeah, I think I'm looking at a good team here.
Another fact that we pointed out on this show last year, and you hesitate to bring it up, but it's football, and that
Injuries.
is a game of attrition.
Yep. Oh, definitely.
The Chiefs were really
And that's
lucky.
where that depth chart is so important. Oh, I'm sorry, Ned. I
Were
didn't
you
mean to.
interrupting me?
Oh, he
I'm
gets
sorry,
cranky
everyone.
about
I
that.
interrupted Ned Reynolds.
Thank you.
Welcome to Joe Talk.
Your apologies accepted.
Josh.
Now the fact is that we did talk about how injury-free the Chiefs were last year and how very fortunate. It's a new year coming up. They already have injuries in their training camp. Is that an omen of things to come? Hopefully not, but hey, you have to consider that as a factor.
When we come back, we'll talk a little bit more about the Chiefs as we get you set for the pregame show that starts in 39 minutes.
Don't think.
You're listening to Ned Talk on 104.7 The Cave, a proud member of the Chiefs Radio Network. Back to Ned Talk on 104.7 The Cave, a proud member of the Chiefs Radio Network.
Yep, we're on before the Chiefs pregame show, which starts in about 35 minutes right here on 104.7 The Cave. The Chiefs and the Jaguars tonight. 6 o'clock preseason pre-football is here. We're really excited to have it. I wanted to ask Jake and Josh this. You guys weren't with us last week, and we discussed it with Alec, and that is, what is your opinion of Patrick Mahomes being, according to the NFL players, the fourth best player?
Yeah, they got Tariq number 1. They got the Baltimore Jackson number 2. They got Christian McCaffrey, which I think should be number 2. I mean, the guy changes the dynamics.
Who's number 1?
Tyreek Hill.
What?
I've never heard of him, but he's number 1 apparently. Yeah, I've seen multiple people, even all the media, is like, I can't believe you guys aren't. Obviously, this guy is changing the game. He is the face of the not just the franchise, but the NFL. And you put Tyreek Hill number 1, Jackson 2, quarterback for Baltimore, and then Christian McCaffrey 3, and then Mahomes number 4. So the guy said, says this guy's doing things Tom Brady never did, and you have him listed as 4th. So yeah, I don't agree with that at all. But you know what? Just give Pat Mahomes more motivation.
Right.
Honestly, just tell him he's terrible. Tell him he can't do it. That's all he needs to make this happen.
Well, number 4 is not terrible, but my reaction to this, when Mike and I talked about it on the show in the morning, is nonsense. Now, nonsense is a good English word, cleaned up for is what it was.
Wait, what'd you say there, Ned? We didn't hear you.
You read my lips, though, didn't you? There is no way that Patrick Mahomes is not the top player. No way. Tyreek Hill may be showier, and he played for a Miami Dolphins team that didn't win. What's Mahomes done? Well, since he's been there, 3 Super Bowls, 2 wins, back-to-back wins, another one that they won, another one they lost, so it's 4 Super Bowls.
Yeah,
the
4
fact
Super
of the matter
Bowls.
remains, though, he is the leader. Now, we can talk about the change in receivers and the change in running backs and change on the O-line. If there's change at QB, then there is something to worry about.
Yeah.
Well, we talked about this when Tyreek Hill got traded to Miami. He's a generational player. He's a very special player. You don't see too many guys like him. And the fact that Kansas City at one point had Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, and Patrick Mahomes all on the same team, they shouldn't have lost ever. Really.
Don't forget they had Kareem Hunt, too, at the same time.
Yeah, Kareem Hunt.
And Kareem Hunt.
You're talking about...
Yeah, they should have never lost, because that offense was that good, that and so electric. But still, one of the things that has been said over the years about can you make a wide receiver the most valuable player or a running back the most valuable player, because somebody has to get that person the ball to be able to change the game.
True.
The quarterback's always got the ball.
I am of the opinion that you cannot pick a most valuable player. It's like the greatest of all time and things. There's none, because the game changes so greatly, and you have different rhythms, different game plans. The focus is on different individuals. Does one player make a difference on a big team? Yes, and that one player, in my opinion, is Mahomes in the National Football League. Now, there are others who are pretty good, but you can take them away and the team will still be pretty good, or whatever. Lamar Jackson, for instance. I think you could throw in another quarterback there, and they'd be competitive. You take Mahomes away from the Chiefs, and I don't think they're competitive.
How many Super Bowl titles does Lamar Jackson have?
0.
2 MVPs.
He has 2 MVPs, but he's 0 at Super Bowls.
Look, well, that's my point.
No
right
Super Bowl appearances either.
When you think of the greatest, if you're not going to say the greatest, if you think of who would be in the top 5 of the greatest receivers in the NFL, Tyreek Hill's not in that conversation, because he's good, but he has only been around a small amount of time. He hasn't accomplished the things that the greatest of all time accomplished.
And Josh, that's why I think you can't have an all-time great at that position. Yeah, wonderful opportunity while he's there, but how long's he been there?
Right.
The others, Travis Kelce, I would certainly put him as one of the best. What's the guy's name of the Chiefs back 10, 15 years ago? The basketball player from California. Why have I drawn a blank on his name?
Gonzalez.
Tony Gonzalez.
Yeah, Tony
Gonzalez would be certainly one of them as well, and there are many, many others. But and in terms of QBs, Mahomes is the man.
Right. Mm-hmm. If Patrick Mahomes didn't play another down of football, I think people would already have arguments in favor of him being a Hall of Famer.
Yep.
Oh, for sure.
Yep.
Well, I think the way the NFL's Hall of Fame is set up, he's a Hall of Famer.
Well, yeah, most likely, yeah, but
I don't think there's any doubt, because it's just it's the Hall of pretty good. So it's not like the baseball Hall of Fame.
It's not as elite as it needs to be. I
correct.
agree. But what I'm saying is, I don't think Tyreek Hill would be in that conversation. If you had your choice between Jerry Rice and Tyreek Hill, which one would you pick?
Jerry Rice.
Jerry Rice any day.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, but Tyreek Hill, for a guy his size and the beating he takes, how many times have you watched Tyreek Hill just get plowed under on the field and you think, no way is he coming back? Jumps right up, where he limps off, where they carry him off, and then 2 plays later he's back in the game.
I watch that every week in Premier League soccer.
Yeah, but
there's the plug.
It's called flopping.
No,
kidding.
Not in Hill's case.
I'm
but
kidding.
You have to understand that Hill is a marvelous physical specimen.
He is.
And he is that build that he can withstand that sort of thing. But what he can't withstand are muscle pulls, and he'll have a lot of them. And he has. He has at hamstrings and maybe quads and things of that nature. Speedy guys who are really lithe like he is do suffer from those injuries.
I don't know how many times I saw him with the Chiefs, and you think, you got one job to do, and that's not let that guy get behind you. And secondaries were constantly letting that guy get behind you because they were the ego would get to him. I'm going to get up on this guy. I'm going to jam him at the line. I'm going to stop him. And the next thing you know, he's 20 yards past him, and it's like a Tecmo Bowl touchdown. Joe Montana to Jerry Rice. You could run that fly pattern all the time on Tecmo Bowl.
Yes, you could.
Get a touchdown on it every single time, and it was that kind of football that you were seeing from those two. But as far as being the best player in the NFL, voted by the players, what do you guys think? Jealousy, or
How many
just
players
people
did they get to vote?
Or were they all drunk when they
top
voted?
100. So they listed 100 players. I could see C-Mac give him the number 1 spot, because he is a very valuable player to that team. In Miami, man, they got Waddle and Tua and A-Chain and Raheem Mostert. Yes, Tyreek Hill is getting 200 yards a game almost average. He's insane, but man, I just don't see how You make him number one.
That's a really good point about Christian McCaffrey, because here he's playing for the 49ers, and he's transformed them into not that they weren't a contender, but they're a strong contender now. When he was with Carolina, he was just a good player because he had no team there. But the fact is, with the 49ers, he has made them a very, very valuable ball player.
But wait a minute. It seems like San Francisco lost to somebody in the Super Bowl last year. Who was that?
Again, it is a team game, and the Chiefs have the better team.
And the better
100%.
Quarterback.
And better QB. McCaffrey's a running back, though.
Yes, I know. I'm not saying that. But it's just interesting to see that fourth?
Yeah,
fourth?
That doesn't make sense to me.
But he did get a 99 in the Madden rating. So
of course he did.
There you go.
That's hugely important, guy.
Yeah, it is important. But I do on the good note of that, of the top 100, 3 of the top 10 were Kansas City Chiefs. It was Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce. See, I would even put Travis Kelce in the top 4, and Chris Jones, all top 10 players according to the NFL. So interesting list. When we come back, I guess maybe we should talk a little bit about the Olympics. You want to do that, Ned, or do you want to talk
basketball
about
just ended about 10 minutes ago, and we have another gold medal. Is it 8 in a row or 9 in a row? I've forgotten what it is now. But
for basketball, they just said 5 straight.
Oh, it's 5 straight.
Yep.
5 straight.
All right, when we come back, we'll talk Olympics. It's Ned Talk on 104.7 The Cave.
You're listening to Ned Talk on 104.7 The Cave, a proud member of the Chiefs Radio Network. Back to Ned Talk on 104.7 The Cave, a proud member of the Chiefs Radio Network.
Not very far away from the start of the first Chiefs preseason game. The pregame show will be on here in about 20 minutes. Mitch Holtis, Danon Hughes, Dan Israel, and the crew once again this season. Until then, you're stuck with us bums.
That's right.
Joe Westen, Ned Reynolds, Jay Gillette, Josh Roberts, and the Olympics. That's the other big. There's some story about that going on in Paris. Have you paid any attention to that?
No, just a little bit, yeah.
The fortnight.
Basketball game just ended. The USA team won, went through it undefeated, but it's not like they blasted everybody around. That's not the case at all. They were very fortunate in the semifinal to get by Serbia. As everybody knows, Serbia's a good team, folks, and they can play basketball. They have Nikola Jokic as their center, and he's the 3-time NBA most valuable player, but he has a good surrounding cast with him. And believe me, there was no love lost when they played their fellow NBA players out there. And USA had it lost and snatched victory from the jaws of defeat, to use that cliche, and won at 95-91, outscoring Serbia 24-8 in the final 5 minutes. Woo. Otherwise, they were gone. They were out, buried.
Nothing like waiting until the last minute.
Well, that's because I think Mr. James got these guys aside and said, hey, we're supposed to be the best in the world here. We better go out and start proving something. Or words to that effect.
Is that LeBron's James?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It almost was LeBron's James.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter remains that USA did just beat France by 11 on the French home court. And I think that says something for the strength of a veteran team. And those guys aren't kids. James is 39. Stephen Curry is 36. Kevin Durant's in his mid-30s. This will be their last Olympics. So the next Olympiad, which is Los Angeles in 2028, will be an altogether different-looking team. But rest assured, they will be skilled players.
So would you guys agree that the story of the Olympics this year is Simone Biles?
Oh,
Is that the story for you guys?
Oh, sure.
Certainly
Jake's kind of looking at me puzzled. You've been on vacation. You've been traveling. So you haven't been following. So maybe we just exclude you from this conversation.
Well, she's certainly the most publicized, and rightfully so. First of all, the fact that she is competing and winning gold medals at her age. Now, I say that have you seen the women's gymnastics, what they do with the parallel bars?
It's insane.
Yeah.
She's 27 years old.
Oh, my gosh.
All the rest of them are 15, 16, 17, 18, and she's 27. And may come back again at the age of 31. It is possible. But she's just a remarkable athlete, 4'8". She's married to a Chicago Bears defensive back, I think it is, who the Bears gave time off to be over there.
That's cool.
That is so cool. But she's she is just a remarkable athlete. But there are others who certainly merit consideration for top athlete and so forth and
Katie
so on.
Ledecky had a phenomenal.
She's a great swimmer. Yeah.
The men's basketball team, the women's basketball team, as you mentioned, playing for gold tomorrow. The women's soccer team won again. Didn't they lost last time though? Didn't they lose? That was the World Cup.
They lost the World Cup,
but
yeah,
they won. Filled with a lot of great stories.
The women's track and field team had this amazing comeback on their relay with Sha'Carri Richardson winning the gold for them. It was amazing to watch. And the track and field stuff was incredible this year.
The 4x400 relay team, which was run this morning, they won by 8 miles. I mean, the finisher, who I think was Gabby Thomas, if I'm not mistaken, and she's already a gold medal winner in her own right, she was 11 seconds. Now, folks, that is a gargantuan margin, 11 seconds ahead of them.
When these races are measured by hundredths of a second, they won by 11 seconds.
Not 11 hundredths, 11 seconds.
11 full seconds. It's an eternity.
So, you know what I was really disappointed in was I was watching the Olympics the other day, and they had shot putting going on.
Mm-hmm.
That used to be, okay, let me just be honest here. That was a fat people sport. I'm a fat person. And I was looking at these people do this, and I was thinking, gosh, athletes have taken that away from us fat people, too. It's just not fair. We can't have our own sport anymore.
I know. I threw shot put in high school.
I did, too. I did it through in junior high.
There's a hot dog eating contest.
Well, look at that.
I know, those guys are in shape as well.
Yeah, those guys are all skinny, too.
Oh, by the way, you missed it. Josh ate 10 hot dogs while we did a show.
I have heard it. We were at the Chiefs happy hour a couple weeks ago, and he told me he ate 10 hot dogs during the hour, and I was like, wow.
What he didn't tell you was what he did afterwards, though.
I took a nap. That's what I did after.
It's a carb nap.
We had the bucket in front of you. Come on, man.
You know, it's my contention that when sometimes you look at the Olympics and you think about the sports and how they came about, that most of these sports were created in a bar in a drunken argument. I can go out and throw that rock further than you can. The next thing you know, there's 2 Scottish guys in kilts outside throwing rocks.
Even rocks.
Yeah.
But I tell you, there are 2 other individuals who merit, and not necessarily, well, one's an American, and that is Scotty Scheffler, who is the number 1 golfer in the world, and he was kind of lagging behind until it came to the final match, the 4th round, and they were playing stroke play. You're playing a regular tournament.
He was sandbagging.
Exactly.
He's so
saving his energy.
He's so good.
Wins everything in sight and comes from behind to do it. That was one. And then my man Novak Djokovic, coming off surgery,
and the loss of
and the loss in the Olympics to Carlos Alcaraz, and then plays him again and beats him in straight sets. Now the sets were close, I admit, 7-6, 7-6, but Djokovic won it and won the one piece of his championship puzzle that he always wanted, and that's the gold medal.
Nice.
I think the other kind of feel-good story to me is the guy from Turkey and the shooting, because they were showing all these people with their accoutrement that they wear and their fancy guns, and this guy goes out there in his glasses with his regular pistol and takes a silver medal. It was pretty impressive, just some great stories this year in the Olympics. It's been a fun Olympics.
That is what's great about the Olympics is you see the true underdogs from all over the world accomplish this goal that is like their life goal. It's got to be uplifting.
And you know fully well that they are very athletic in terms of their orientation, not only toward their sports, but toward their behavior in society. The world is coming together as far as athletics are concerned. And in my opinion, that is what the Olympics is all about. It'll be in Los Angeles, the next Olympiad, not the winter, but the next Summer Olympics is 2028. That'll be interesting, very interesting.
No, wait a minute. Los Angeles had an Olympics in the 80s. Why did they get another one so soon?
Because they bid on it.
That was 40
and they bid the money
ago.
for it.
All right. I'm just saying right now, guys, that's true. It is 40 years ago, and I'm getting old. Anytime you say stuff like that, I'm like...
Atlanta.
Yeah, I know.
96.
Yeah. Oh, well, I think we need to start the Springfield Olympic Committee here.
Let's do it.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Yeah, let's try to get the Olympics here. What do you think?
We do have Olympic development programs here.
We do?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right,
And
that's a start.
archery.
We're already ahead of the game.
I think there's a volleyball development committee, or not committee, but volleyball development programs here. Oh, yeah. It goes on all across the country.
Volleyball?
We have a beach volleyball team, sure. Missouri State does.
Yeah, they do.
Oh, nice.
They do have a beach volleyball
Oh, they have for
team.
several years now. You ought to see the beach volleyball in February when they play outside. That's
sure.
Different story, guys.
Snow volleyball.
All right, when we come back, we'll wrap up the show, get you set for Mitch Holtis, Stan Hughes, and the crew, and we'll give you our picks for tonight's game, whether it matters or not. It's Ned Talk.
You're listening to Ned Talk on 104.7 The Cave, a proud member of the Chiefs Radio Network. Back to Ned Talk on 104.7 The Cave, a proud member of the Chiefs Radio Network.
Not very far away from the start of the Chiefs pregame show, our first one for the year. Our first pregame show went pretty well, don't you think, Ned?
I think we had a good time, yeah.
Yeah.
A lot to talk about and discussion next week when we're on, and I think we're on at 5 next week if
No,
I'm not.
we're on at 1 o'clock next week.
Oh, it's an afternoon game?
It is. The Chiefs will take on the Detroit Lions, and the start of that game is 3 o'clock, so we'll be on at 1, and the pregame show will be on at 2.
And that's on Saturday again?
That is on Saturday, August 17th,
And
gentlemen.
that's the Detroit Lions at Arrowhead Stadium, and it's a 3 o'clock kickoff. Anyway, we'll be able to discuss what happened in this one and any of the ramifications forthcoming from it. So it'll be more of a show that we'll have that's similar to what we'll have at midseason.
Before we get to our picks, I want to ask you this question because one of the biggest news stories this last week, one of the big media stories for the last week about Major League Baseball, and especially the American League, is that people are saying it's a two-man race for the MVP, Aaron Judge and Bobby Witt Jr. What do you think?
I think Bobby Witt Jr., if there's no justice if Bobby Witt Jr. doesn't win the thing. He won't. Aaron Judge will. And that's because Judge is hitting the home runs, and he's playing for the New York Yankees, and Bobby Witt Jr. is the Kansas City, what? Do they have a team out there? They have a very, very good team is what they have.
But Aaron Judge has a legitimate shot at the Triple Crown.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he's hitting 320. He's not just a home run hitter. He's hitting 328. He has well over 100 RBIs at this point in the season. He'll probably get in a gaudy number of RBIs. We're talking 130, 140, which is that's huge, guys.
Oh, yeah, it is.
But, Joe, you have to understand what constitutes a most valuable player.
True. Now,
most valuable player to his team. Stop. And most valuable player in the league. This guy is to his team. He's batting well over 300. He has home run. He's an all-star. He's done everything for this team, and he is young. He's a superstar in the making. I say it's Bobby Witt Jr. It won't be, but that's who I would pick.
Well, I was going to say, Ned, that I think
you were going to interrupt me. It's what you were going to do.
And I know how that bothers you. Jake's the only one who hasn't interrupted you today.
That's because he can he can whip my behind.
Oh, I think all of us can.
Pure respect. Pure respect.
What I was going to say is that also Bobby Witt doesn't have a Juan Soto hitting in behind him or the other big names that the Yankees have in their lineup. So he's doing it without that kind of protection, and it's very impressive.
Salvador Perez is no slouch.
But he's not a Juan Soto.
No.
So I'm trying to say that's my case for Bobby Witt being the MVP, is that he doesn't have the same type of protection that Aaron Judge does in the lineup.
That's a good point.
I mean, the both are. You can just say that these guys are both outstanding baseball players.
Oh, yeah.
They're both great for the game, and take away the teams, take away all that. They're both good young men. They're both playing extraordinary baseball. And if I had to pick between the two, I would pick Bobby Witt Jr. just because of the protection.
Okay.
Yeah, because of that. All right, here we go. Jacksonville Chiefs tonight, first preseason. Ned, your pick.
Most ludicrous thing I've seen is that they put a line on this game. And the Jacksonville Jaguars are a 2.5-point favorite. First of all, folks, and I play the chocolate chips, not this one, but anybody who would bet on an exhibition game is a fool. You can't tell what's going to happen. So picking a final score because of the Kansas City Chiefs and because this is the Chiefs Network, I will go with Kansas City to win it 19-16.
All right, Jake, what about you?
I'll go with 14-10 Chiefs. No injuries.
Yep. What do you think, Josh?
I think it's 21-10 Jacksonville.
21-10 Jacksonville.
It doesn't matter.
That's an interesting pick. Yeah, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I foresee a low-scoring game because I just don't think either. I think, first of all, teams are just still trying to feel everything out. First time really playing another team other than themselves. So, 19-15, something weird like that, maybe is a final score.
3-2.
3-2, yeah. How much do you think Mahomes plays, Ned? That's a better bet.
The better part of the first period. I think he'll play quite a bit. Certainly a series and maybe 2 series.
What do you think?
I would say just a couple series.
Josh?
2 of them.
That's what I think, too, depending upon how sharp they look, which I expect them to look pretty sharp. I bet they'll score a couple of touchdowns and he'll be out.
So a lot of Carson Wentz tonight is what we're going to see.
Yeah, we're going to get a lot of Carson Wentz.
We're going to see a lot of Carson.
Maybe the third-team quarterback, too.
And they have a fourth-team quarterback right now, too.
Who's
so
that?
I don't know. I don't have that up in front of me anymore. I don't have it. Yeah, nope, I don't have that anymore. I can't tell you. I did have it here just a second ago. Anyway.
Frank Garvin.
No, it's Chris Oakley. I'm not going to try that. And Ian Book is the fourth-string.
Right. Ian Book, yeah, that's right.
He's the fourth-string quarterback.
Oh, yeah.
Getting another
Ian
try.
Book.
Mm-hmm.
So, interesting. What are you going to – anything particular you're going to watch, you're going to keep your eye on tonight?
Want to see the O-line, want to see how they behave and what kind of substitutions they have there, what protection they give to whomever is doing the quarterbacking. And just like anyone would like in this, 0 injuries coming up. Jake pointed that out. We don't want anybody to. There will be some. There always are. It's a game of collision, but you want to avoid anything serious.
Just a reminder, we'll be on the air next Saturday at 1 o'clock when the Chiefs take on the Detroit Lions. Get set, because here it is. It is your first preseason game, your first preseason pregame. It's all coming up in just a minute. Thanks to Corbin Campbell, Mike the intern, Brian Tyndall, Nick Fury. We'll see you guys next Saturday.
You slept through your alarm, missed the train, and your breakfast sandwich, cold. Sounds like you could use some luck.
I'm Victoria Cash, and Lucky Land is where people go every day to get lucky. At Lucky Land, you can play over 100 casino-style games for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. Go to LuckyLandSlots.com and get lucky today. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply.